If you're looking for a tablet under $300, well, this is actually my favorite tablet you could buy. It is from TCL, it's the TCL NXTPAPER 11 Plus, and I'm gonna tell you about it in this full review. So let's get right into it. So I can't believe it, but under $300, if you're looking around $200 to $250, I now have a favorite tablet at this price range. So this TCL tablet, you could find it at Walmart for $250. In fact, it might just be in stock at your local Walmart. I will have links in the description. Now remember, that's the base price before sales. Of course, the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus has gone on sale. I know Lenovo has tablets that have gone on sale too, and I'm sure over time, you might see some sales on this too. But this is only $30 more than the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus, the base model from Samsung. And what do you get? Well, this tablet does provide more RAM. It does come with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage in the base model. It comes with Android 15 right out of the box, but this also gives you one of the craziest features as far as the display that we just have to talk about. So whenever you turn this tablet on, there's a button right here in the top right-hand corner. And if you click that button, you could actually make this display an e-ink display through the software. Now, if you want it to be a little bit different, maybe you just want it to be lighter on the eyes, you could also go to this other mode. Technically, it's called color paper mode, and you could turn it to that too if you just want that different display effect. But there are these 3 different display effects, of course, that you have to choose from in the software. And if you go beyond that and just look at the display itself, it actually is a matte display. So it does have a paper-like feel on the screen to begin with, and that's going to be a lot better for reflections whenever you are outside. Now the colors still look fairly vivid and fairly good overall. I would say they are going to be similar as far as other tablets out there, but whenever you're actually looking at it, you could actually see it whenever you're in a restaurant or whenever you're out and about. The reflections aren't going to be bad at all thanks to the matte display. Now some people might not like the feel of a matte display. It might feel a little bit like a screen protector to you, one of those very smooth ones, and maybe it's going to be a little bit too smooth for you. You might prefer the feel of normal glass, and I know that's going to be some of my audience out there. And to be honest, I was sort of like that, and I was a little bit skeptical of a matte display on a tablet, but this really is a game changer for me. There are some times when I want to read on my tablet. There's some times when I don't want to get addicted to social media, constant scrolling. Sometimes I want to turn my display on black and white. Sometimes I just want my display to be a little bit nicer on my eyes. And there's a lot of times when I go out and about with my tablet and I don't want all of those reflections. Now this tablet does get up to 550 nits of brightness on the display, so it's going to be brighter than a lot of other competitors at this price point. And even the PPI is pretty good. The PPI is 229, and I know the PPI on the display of the A9 Plus is like 206. Now that's a lot of technical terms, but the main point is the screen does look better than other competitors around $200. No, it's not an AMOLED display. From what I'm seeing, it's an IPS LCD display, but having a flicker-free anti-glare display, that is a big win. Now for some people, it might just be a minor win, right? Getting a display that's a little brighter, or maybe getting a display that doesn't have reflections, that's cool. For some of you, you might not use that ink paper mode. You might not use the black and white mode, and you might not care about getting a softer look for your eyes. After all, there are some other devices out there that do have that eye comfort mode, so maybe you're used to that and you would just prefer that anyway. So the display might just be a minor win for some people, and for some people, they might not even like the feel at all of something that has a matte screen protector feel. And again, for those people, well, I get it, and I get if this might not be the tablet for you, but I think a lot of people out there, it's either going to be a nice win for them or it's going to be a game changer, one of the two. There are some things that are imperfect about this tablet. Again, remember, this is a budget tablet that you find at Walmart. You got to check your expectations, all right? So there are some things that are imperfect. For example, the back of this tablet, yeah, it can get some fingerprints, and that's one thing that I've really noticed. Now, what about the speed? What about the performance? Well, the performance is really good. I would say, and when I say really good, again, check your expectations, but it's going to be similar to something like the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus. You're going to get similar numbers as far as the benchmarks, and in day-to-day performance, that 8 gigs of RAM really does well on this tablet. And I think TCL, with their software, it's almost a base version of Google. It's very similar to Google's normal software, so there's not a huge skin on it with TCL, and I love that about it. There's not a ton of bloatware. In fact, I didn't see any bloatware whenever I first got this tablet outside of Google's base apps. And whenever I was actually using it, well, it felt very, very fast. I was able to go from app to app, no problem. It was able to open up multiple apps in the background and jump between them and load them fairly fast. Now, of course, that is when you're doing the basics. If you are trying to push this tablet to the limit, you're going to quickly find out that this is not a $400 or $500 or $600 tablet. But still, it's pretty impressive for an Android tablet around this price, and I would say it's going to feel fairly similar to the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus or the Lenovo Tab M11, and even the Lenovo Tab Plus. It's going to perform right there with those three tablets. But the one thing, again, that does give this tablet an edge is the fact that it comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM in the base model, while the base model of the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus, that only comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and only 64 gigs of storage, which is very low. But I know it's been going on sale a lot, but even then, if you bump up to the 8 gigabyte model, well, that tablet is going to retail at a similar price to this, but then this has the really cool display technology and some other stuff that I really like. It's got a 120 Hz refresh rate, so the refresh rate is going to be better than the A9 Plus or the Lenovo Tab M11, so that's really nice. But the one thing I do have to knock TCL on here, it's going to be the software optimization. And for some people, that is going to be no big deal at all, especially for a tablet like this. But there are some apps, whenever you open them up, I'm thinking of FedEx, I'm thinking of apps like Best Buy or Woot. There are a lot of apps like that that whenever I open them up, they seem to force themselves in the up and down orientation or portrait orientation. So they don't seem to work at all in landscape. They just shift the screen sideways. So that means that you would have to pick up the tablet and move it sideways. For some people, no big deal at all, especially on a tablet like this, because if you think about it, a lot of people are going to buy a tablet like this for reading because it's a lot lighter on your eyes. And with the software, for example, you could use that black and white mode to make it look better for reading. So some people are going to want to read on this tablet, and I would say if you're going to read, you might have it in that portrait orientation for that anyway. So for this tablet in particular, a lot of people might use it in portrait and landscape orientations, so you might not care as much that the software won't force apps to work in that side-to-side mode. But it is still a little bit annoying that they don't optimize the software to work a little better. I did hear that Android 16 might actually help tablets like this with the software optimization, but we will have to wait and see whenever Android 16 comes out. I did hear we are getting one operating system update, so you will get Android 16 on this tablet, but only 2 years of security updates, and again, some people might not like that the processor is a MediaTek processor. It's a MediaTek Helio G100 processor, but once again, it is still going to perform fairly similarly to the Snapdragon processor you find in the A9 Plus. Now, I do want to get a little bit deeper in detail as far as performance, but before we do that, I do want to talk about our sponsor, Whisker. So one thing TCL has done really well with this tablet, they brought something unique that a lot of other tablet makers haven't even thought about. And that's what Whisker has done for our pets. So when I think about my life and my cat Sally, who is absolutely adorable, I am trying to think of every way I can to get out of scooping that nasty litter box. And that's where the Litter Robot 4 comes in, because once your cat enters the litter box, it senses your cat, and it gives some time to actually let your cat leave, and it makes sure with its sensors that your cat is safe and out of the litter box. And then it takes all that nasty, stinky litter a few minutes later, and it puts it right in a trash bag below the litter box, so you don't have to smell it. It also saves you a little money on litter costs. cost, and that means you don't have to scoop anything. You get to take all that time back and go be productive with it. So I love these products from Whisker. The litter robot is amazing. It has saved me a ton of time. They even have other products if you have dogs or cats and you want to put them on a food schedule. They have a thing called the feeder robot. So I love the products Whisker is providing. It has really helped my life out a ton. So feel free to check those links in the description if you're interested in the litter robot or the feeder robot. And with all that being said, let's get right back to our video and let's talk about the performance and the awesome things TCL is bringing to the tech space. Keep in mind that this tablet, well, it will work pretty well for gaming, for basic gaming, but it's not a mid-range gaming tablet or even a high-end gaming tablet. If you are using this for emulation, for example, it'll work with PS1 games or it'll work with N64. Again, any emulation I ever do is with things I actually bought in person and own. But if you do any emulation, you'll find it's not going to run like PS2 games, for example. If it even worked at all, it would work on like very base level stuff, but I wouldn't expect it to work with high-end PS2 games. But yeah, it will actually work with some GameCube games, which was very surprising to me, and N64, of course, it'll work with some of those, and PS1. So you're going to be able to do some basic emulation, but you'll also be able to do some good gaming on Android, and it will work just fine with a lot of those things. Now you can actually get a stylus that will work with this tablet, and once you charge it up and everything, you're going to be able to use it and it's going to be a good experience. And the screen really does help with that. So this is going to be good for coloring or drawing or for people who are artistic. And that 120 Hz display really will make a difference for you. But it's still nice that you could buy a stylus separately. It's around 40 bucks, but it will work pretty good for most people out there. Again, I'm not a big artist, so I'm not going to talk a ton about the drawing, but it is still pretty cool drawing on the screen and with the different modes and everything. I do really like that, and I also like the feel of drawing on a display like this that is a little bit paper-like. And if you're looking at battery life, this does have an 8,000 milliamp battery. So a screen that's a little bit over 11 inches in size, a 2.2K resolution on the display, decent and good performance, 120 Hz refresh rate, 8 GB of RAM, and all around the price of the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus with better specs, a better display, but a little bit lower on the software updates. But the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus has been out for so long that, well, the updates are about the same anyway if you look at the software. So if I'm factoring all that in and factoring out the fact that, again, the A9 Plus is almost out of updates anyway, this tablet is really, really good and I really like it. Again, it's a terrific device for people wanting something unique. I am always wanting tablet makers to come out with something different and extraordinary, and the fact that we get this from TCL, it's really, really cool. Again, I know it's just a really unique software trick with some of these things with the display, but they also did have to build some of these things into the hardware. And I really do like the display. I love the technology they're using and the different things they've got going on. It's so much better for people that have struggles with screens and really struggles with their eyes hurting or getting headaches. It's really nice that you get that high refresh rate, you get that 120 Hertz, and you don't have to buy some e-ink screen to get a screen that looks like that, but you also get less reflections and you get a device that you could read on. So I love it, and I love that it actually outperforms some other budget tablets out there at this price, or it at least matches those tablets in performance. So I do understand, for some of you, you might find the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus on sale. And if you do, if you find the 8 GB model, maybe you find it for 150 bucks. We've seen a lot of great sales on Prime Day. Then yeah, maybe that 100 extra bucks that you save is worth buying that. And I do get those bargain hunters are gonna look for those things, and maybe you'll find the Lenovo Tab Plus on sale, or maybe you're someone who really wants awesome tablet speakers and a kickstand, and maybe you found the Tab Plus on sale for $199. So I completely get why some people would pick the Tab Plus, and I get why some people would pick the Tab A9 Plus from Samsung. But this tablet, if I'm comparing it at the retail prices, I think this tablet is a better tablet overall. And it's my favorite budget tablet that you could buy under $300. And And I'm sure just like all those other tablets, you're gonna see some little sales on this tablet too. And overall, if I look at it, if I'm recommending a tablet to someone under $300, this is going to be it. As long as you're okay with the software not being quite as optimized, as long as you're okay with a little bit less updates in your tablets, which you're gonna find at this price point with every tablet, even the A9 Plus, at the end of the day, I would say this is my favorite option. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and no SD card slot. I get that might be a deal breaker. Maybe you don't like the fingerprints. There are some things that might draw you somewhere else. But overall, even with the cons, I would say this is going to be my favorite tablet under $300. And it's definitely a tablet that's gonna get a lot of use in my home because it's a pretty good deal, especially with those crazy awesome software features. And I really wish more tablet makers would get creative and do stuff like TCL did here. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel because I cover Android tablets and Android phones quite a bit. This is Android Digest after all. So a sub would mean a lot. Another thing is to check the links in the description. If you're interested in this tablet, I will have some deals there so you could check those out. And another thing, if you really like Android content, if you like phone content, tablets, check out some other videos if you get time because you're gonna see some at the end of this video. So have a great day, and no matter what you're going through in life, I hope you have a great week and a great life.